This course is based on the Google Data Analysis course, so it is a step-by-step to be professional data analysis. So we talk about the six step that data analysis need is ask a question starting from ask, and today we'll focus on the ask. I'm gonna make it so brief. In the ask phase, the first phase you're dealing with your data is where the data analysis use the structural thinking to solve business problems. So you start ask effective questions and use the answer to tell the meaningful about your data. So start asking smart, effective questions to get the meaningful about your data. So just simply about the use the structure. What is that structural thinking? Is that a process of organizing the current problem you have, organize a variable information, relevant gaps and opportunities, and finding the options. Smaller steps. So you identify the problem and divide it into small steps, and then use this step lead you to guide logical solution. I say as a data analyst is not just plugging information into a platform to find insight. It's about solving a problem. So as a data analyst, it's not just you put the data and you get the plot and whatever. No, it's about you have to find there's a problem you need to solve. So no matter what the sector that you're working on, you have, for example, companies that you need to find what's the best advertisement to include in order to make a profit. So it depends on the sector that you work. You will have to find the problems that they're working on and you need to solve this problem. And that's why we focus on the ask. Because at the end, data is not about just drawing or plotting, it's about what is the problem you need to solve. If there is no problem, then there's nothing about your data is meaningful. Six problem time, making predictions, categorize things, spot something unusual, identifying themes, discover connections, finding patterns. This is the main problem type that data analysis dealing with. Making a predictions, so if the company need to find what the best advertising method to bring, you'll have to collect the data and then you make your plot and then you compare the and then you find the best way to the best advertising method. So make predictions depend on the sector that you work on. You from the data you collect the data, separate the data, and then you have to make a predictions from this data. Categorize things. An example of the problem required analysis to categorize things is the company goal to improve customer satisfaction. So this is just an example. Categorize things. Analysts may classify customer service calls based on certain keyword or score. This could help identify top performance customers service representative or help clarify certain actions. It's like this is categorize things is so useful when you work with a spreadsheet or SQL. So when you use the sorting, the filter data, you filter data based on the specific criteria that you need to. So you categorize things by like for example, you have different countries and you select the country that you need to work on and you start categorizing things. So this is the suppose something unusual. If you have like the lower limit and high limit of the heart rate pulses and then you find something unusual. Are you working with your Excel sheet and you find something that unusual? You know the temperature, for example, this country in the summer is like 35 Celsius to 50 Celsius, and you find something like 60 over 70. So this is something that unusual. So as your data analyst, you have to suppose something that unusual, like whatever you work, you understand the data, you find something that is unusual. Identifying themes. Under themes are most often used to help researchers explore certain aspect of data. Um, this is where you identifying themes, you make the plot, you do the chart plot, bar, whatever, and you identifying the themes, you identifying the how the data are relevant and how will help you to explore certain aspect of data. Discover the connections, for example, a third-party logistic company working with another company to get shipments delivered to customers. So, as your role as data analyst to find the connection between the third party and the another company by analyzing the waiting time at shipment helps analysts can determine the appropriate schedule change to increase the number of one-time delivers. So monitor this and you will find the best waiting time. So you'll try to solve this problem. So it's always about finding the best way to get the insight from your data and the bias, and you find the best way to solve this problem, discovering connections and finding patterns. For example, minimize downtime caused by machine failure is an example of a program required analysis to find pattern in data. This is just an example of a machine failure. So by as analyst you will to collecting the data about the analyst maintenance data, they might discover that most failure happen if regular maintenance is delayed by more than a 15-day window. So this example of finding patterns is when you work on your data and you have to find the patterns why this failure happened, and you discover the pattern. So this is the problem that we need to work on, and then you have to ask smarter questions how to solve this problem. Smarter questions mean S is specific and M is measurable, and A is action oriented, and R relevant, and T is time bound. And I will keep this document so you read it for more details. And then you'll go to data driven decision is where you data is lead to a decision making, where this example of data decision making is where the company or the manager they have to decide based on the analysis that you do, based on the categorize the thing that you do, based on the finding pattern that you do, and then you will have the data result for this one. You have the data result for the past, you have the data result, the current data result. So the managers will see the difference between this data and difference between this data, and then they will go to decide which advertisement they take, which tool they have to take depending on the sector that you're working on. The asking questions, you ask questions, you work with 6 problem type, you start asking smarter questions to find solution for this question type, and then you use the data driven decision making to use the fact from your data to decision making. This is the first step, and then we go to after you ask your smarter questions, you find the problem that you need to work on, and then we have to prepare the data. The next video will be how to prepare the data, how we collect the data, what is the sources for the data, what is the quantitative, what is the qualitative data, and then we'll go to the process where we clean the data with spreadsheet and SQL, and also we use the R in the analyze. So if you find this information useful, please subscribe in the channel so I can continue